So I'm already back to another one of these. About a day or two after the previous one. And in the last one, I just went on about how I'm angry all the time. You know, every little thing, big thing, no matter what it is, I just always feel angry. If something is sort of out of my control or doesn't go to plan, I get so angry. And after I did that video, I sort of decided to take a bit of inventory of, well, my life, certain things, and look into the reasons, I don't know, maybe why I feel so angry all the time. And I think I sort of found the reason. And, well, the main reason at the moment, the sort of main catalyst behind why everything feels just so devastating, and it's really hard for me to sort of adjust. And as much as I would love to say otherwise, I think it's one of my cats. And the reason I think it's one of my cats is just because of, well, my day-to-day. And I feel really, really guilty about it now that I've sort of properly thought about it. She's lovely. Most affectionate cat. Always sort of wants attention. Will sort of paw your arm, scratch your arm if she doesn't get it. And always thrust her head into your hand to sort of get more attention. Wouldn't hurt a fly, and has this sort of delightfully annoying purr that is music to my ears. Because I know, obviously, she's happy whenever she gets attention. But recently, within, I don't know, the past, I don't know, maybe 8 or so months, she has become a lot more. There's not really any other word for it. A lot more difficult. Some personal sort of things that happened over a year ago, almost a couple of years ago, involved my mum and her partner having to move out of her place and sort of basically come live here. And so that obviously meant that everything had to come and live here, including her cat, which didn't get on with either of our two cats at all, and also the massive dog, the big Labrador that is still a puppy. Well, I say still a puppy. She's 3, but she acts like a puppy. And so, unfortunately, the cat that she brought, he's really sweet. Doesn't really like being picked up. Only really wants attention if he's around, but he never is. He's sort of, ever since my mum's partner passed last year, we rarely see him. He's essentially become a stray. He doesn't come home anymore. We see him out in the park sometimes, but that's about it. And so it's just a dog, really. And she sort of, I don't know why, she sort of bounds everywhere. It is really loud. Because the house is quite small, it's not very practical, but I can see why my mum doesn't want to rehome her or anything, because, you know, it was their pet, and it's basically the only sort of living tie she has to her late partner. So I don't blame her for not sort of wanting to get rid of her, but it is just unfortunate. She is too big for this house, and sort of gets, I say aggressive, she sort of lunges for the cats sometimes if they just come in wanting attention, and we keep telling her off for it, but she doesn't listen. And I think the stress of all of that, the massive adjustment that even I found difficult, I think is really taking its toll on, well, one of our cats. And so about 8 months or so ago, she stopped using her litter tray altogether. So that meant that there was so much more mess for me to clean up. And another issue that she's had, basically for years, ever since we got her, we think she was the runt of the litter, and so is quite, well, she gobbles down her food. She's a lot smaller than she ideally should be, and so she tends to regurgitate a lot of her food, and that gives me more mess. And I know it's not her fault. It's not her fault at all. But essentially for the past 8 or so months, every single day I wake up in dread, knowing that I'm going to have to deal with some form of mess. And that might not sound like much, but for someone like myself who gets very overstimulated very easily, you know, things with sort of strong smells and awful textures like that, I can't deal with, and yet I have to. And doing that at least once every day, sometimes multiple times, it actually kills me. And I feel stupid for even saying it, because it's such a small thing. You know, people, when they walk their dogs all the time, they have to deal with it. But I just can't. I just can't do it. And yet I'm somehow doing it because I sort of have to, and it's actually killing me. I think that's why it's sort of taken me so long to sort of mention it to my poor old mother, because I feel stupid for even having that issue. It's like it feels like such a non-issue, but I can't cope. Like, I know everybody has their own issues, but I've never heard of someone just crumbling because they can't deal with their cat's mess. And so I come downstairs every morning, or whenever I wake up, and more often than not, there's 1 or 2, possibly 3 piles of sick, and then a pile of shit for me to clean up, and a puddle of piss somewhere, and I can't be doing that. You know, I sleep rough as it is. I have my own issues as it is. And I think for me, well, a good night's sleep and being able to wake up calm and collected is very important for my state of well-being. And so having every single day where you wake up and the first thing you think of is, well, I've now got to do this completely overstimulating job that I I can't do it. Well, that takes such a toll, but I have to do that. That really gets under my skin, and I hate it, and it makes me so unfathomably angry. Like, I remember, well, I say I remember, any time I sort of, after she's eaten or something, and I can hear her scratch at the cupboard doors because she's trying to cover up what she's doing. Like, cats do it in litter trays, you know, they take a shit and then they cover it up. And her scratching is sort of her attempting to do that, but obviously there's no litter there, so she just does it on the cupboard door. And I can hear that when I'm sat relaxing, and it just instantly spikes my stress and anger. I sit there, and I hate myself for even admitting this. I sit there thinking, I wish I could just throw her in the bottom of a canal, because I can't cope with it. And then I feel worse and more guilty because all of a sudden, um, I, I just think it's not her fault. You know, there's probably some outside. It's not like she's doing it out of malice. And then I just feel bad because I'm treating it as if she is, and like she's just doing it to intentionally piss me off, but she's not. And I feel really guilty. And so when I mentioned this to my mum yesterday, I know I was saying that I feel angry all the time, and I think this might, like I could hear her scratching yesterday, and I mean, she saw me get really, really angry. Like, I had to sort of, I started breathing deep. I started sort of raising my voice, getting a bit antsy, and I think I was so close to breaking down yesterday. Of all things to break down over, like, that is not really something I feel like I should be breaking down over, but I can't deal with it. And then we ended up having a massive conversation, and I think we're going to have to rehome her. And I hate that it's come to that, because, like I say, it's not her fault. She's just a tiny cat that can't process her food properly, or has like some other outstanding issue. We've taken her to the vets countless times about several issues, and they've just told us, she has a weak stomach, just change her food. And we do that, and it works for a week, and then we're back in the exact same position. And so we can't justify spending God knows how much money when budgets are tight just to be told by the vets, yeah, you know, she's just got a weak stomach. And so I think it's just beneficial for not just me, but for her as well, where she's in a place where she has people who are much more qualified to deal with her problems without getting angry. But I feel so guilty. I just sat there in bed last night, and I just sort of thought, I'm an arse for doing this, because I feel like I'm giving up on her, and all she wants to do is just have attention and be around you, but I keep pushing her away and being cold to her, because every time I look at her I just get this overwhelming feeling of stress and anger, and well, that's not fair on either of us. You know, that's not fair on her. She doesn't know what she's dealing with. And that's not fair on me, because I can't keep living like that. Like, my blood pressure is probably so high because I get so angry at it. And that is the unfortunate truth, but I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place at the moment because I can't justify keeping her, because I know things will just sour and sour and sour more than they already have, to the point where she's going to be too afraid to do anything, which is just going to exacerbate her issues. And then I'm going to be more angry at her. And so, like, we're going to end up hating each other or being terrified of each other. And so I can't realistically keep her on, but also she's an indoor cat. She's timid as is. Rarely ever like looks at new people, and then runs away whenever someone comes to the door. And I'm just going to be sending her off into a place that she's never known. You know, she's lived with us ever since she was a kitten. And I just picture taking her to a shelter or something, or to a foster home, and she's looking around thinking, well, where the hell am I? And she looks and sees me there and is like, well, at least he's here. And then I walk out the door and I just see these big bug eyes staring at me. And then she's gonna sit in the back of a room somewhere, waiting for a day that will never come in which I return. And I can't live with that. I don't know if I have the capacity to do that, but if I don't do it, it's gonna kill me. And well, if it gets worse, probably her. Like, I can't cope. But I also can't bear to leave her in a place where she'll be scared. Like, I don't hate her. I never have, and I don't think I ever will. Like, I know it's not her fault. Like I say, she's not doing it out of malice. She's not a malicious creature at all. The only time she has ever hurt me, she doesn't bite, she just digs her claws in because she's tiny and weighs about 3 pounds, and so she needs to sort of grip onto things because she's too light. And so that's all she does. She doesn't intentionally ever hurt anyone. And I'm just sending her off because I'm not more resilient. If only I could have been just a tiny bit stronger and not get bothered over such a non-issue, maybe I wouldn't be having this conversation. And I mean, like, I think I'm sort of projecting my own insecurities onto her. Like, I'll always remember when I started school, when I was, 4? I mean, I didn't know half the extent of the issues I had at the time. And I only felt safe around my mum. And so she took me to this school that I'd never been to before. And she left. Just left me there in the lion's den. And so I screamed. You know, I begged for her to come back because I didn't feel safe. You know, I had no idea what was going on. And I mean, obviously, she did come back. And, you know, I got used to it. I adapted. And I mean, cats, they're brilliant at adapting. But I'm not going to come back. You know, I just picture her sort of internally screaming. And there's not a damn thing I can do about it because I'm never going to return. And I don't know if I'll be able to live with that guilt. Like, I'm going to feel extraordinarily guilty for doing it. But yet it's simultaneously the healthiest option I have. And I just feel rough. Like, I hate myself but I feel like I'm giving up on her. When all she needs is just someone that's better equipped to deal with her issues. and like I'm just throwing her into the most unfamiliar place she's ever been. She's shown no interest in like escaping or going outside. We offer, you know, we've bought her a collar with a lead so she could go into the back garden. Not interested. And now I'm just sort of expected to take her to a place where she'll never see me again, and is just going to be on her own. I can't bear thinking that I am capable of something like that. Like the way I sort of, the fact is, I know that she will be probably fine. You know, cats don't really get overly. I imagine they don't really get overly sentimental like we do. And so, I think she would just sort of be a bit nervous to start with, and then realise that she gets steady food, you know, has a place to be safe, and would be fine. But I'm all she's ever known. Like, this house is all she's ever known. And that instant change, I just feel like would kill her. And I can't do that to her, but I also can't cope. So I don't know what to do. Like, the healthiest option is also the worst option. And, like, I know, obviously, people say the kindest thing you can do is almost never the best thing you can do. Or, like, the kindest thing you can do is the one that will provide the most hurt for everyone involved, short term, but I don't know, I'm so inept that I'm just not equipped to deal with such an issue. I'm 24 and I can't deal with basic adult issues. And I just feel so helpless, which just pushes me deeper in this cycle. Like, I feel lost. I can give her the things she needs, but that will make her scared and alone, and will also make me feel guilty. Or I can spare myself the guilt. Well, I can spare myself that guilt and keep pushing myself when it is bringing me to the point of breakdown. And well, it brought me to tears yesterday just thinking about it. That's how much I can't cope with it. I can't cope with waking up every day and just feeling dread. That is not a healthy way to live. And for someone like me that is already fragile, that's just, it's the smoking gun, really. It's the nail in the coffin, the final nail in the coffin. I can't. Something has to give. And if it doesn't, it's just going to explode, and it's going to be worse for both of us in the long run. Like, I don't know what to do. I'm lost. I mean, obviously, everything else that's going on in my life, with my dad basically dying. And, well, every day I wake up and something else has gone on in the world that means I'm going to be worse off. I don't know how much more I've got in me, and I need to offload some of this. Just, I don't want to say pain, because it's not really pain, but offload just some of the stress. Because I feel, it's getting to the point where I feel like I'm actually getting physical symptoms. You know, I'm always lightheaded, I'm always stressed, I'm always on my toes, I'm always anxious, I'm always just, I feel like I'm a hair's breadth away from collapsing. But it's not like I can just go, oh, I'll just cut out sugary drinks or something. You know, I'm talking about a living, sentient creature here that is going to be terrified. And I don't know. Like, I knew it wouldn't be easy having this sort of conversation, but I didn't realise it would be this hard. You know, I always, over the past few months, and I hate myself for even sort of thinking it, but I always sort of imagined that my other cat, he's completely normal. You know, he's absolutely fine. He's sweet as well. Loves to play. Is always affectionate. I, he, I, I'm gonna miss him like hell. But I always sort of think over the past few months especially, I always sort of thought that I was so cold to my other cat that I wouldn't even care if she just passed right now. I would find it easier, and I hate myself for thinking that. But I can't help it because I'm stressed. And like, I don't want that for her. I want her to sort of prosper in a place where she can prosper, but I also, well, I know she's not like me, but I know for a fact that if I was just left in someone else's house and I had nothing I could do, you know, no one familiar was there, just, I know I wouldn't cope, and I think I'm just projecting that onto her. I know I wouldn't want that for me, so why on earth would I give that to something else? And I just need to sort of get over that, but I don't know if I'll ever be able to. You know, I don't know if I'll ever be able to look at myself and just think, I did the right thing and I'm happy with that decision. Like, there is no good decision here. And I'm very aware of that, but that doesn't make it any easier. If anything, it makes it worse, because I have to choose between the lesser of two evils, and, well, it's far from easy, as anyone knows. But yeah, I think that's all I needed to mention today. I just needed to get this off my chest because it's eating me up inside, and I can't cope. Like, I feel like I'm about to burst. And so I'm trying to figure out the path of least resistance that means that she wouldn't have to suffer or be afraid. But yeah, that's all I have to say today. See ya.